Hi guys, I am Java Anathe. So in this session we are going to talk about Spring Core. So we met in Spring Framework introduction sessions. So in this session we are going to talk about the setter based injection. So here we are going to see what is a setter based injection. Also we have seen already the constructor based injection. So today's session we are going to talk about what is setter based injection and how Spring Framework uses setter based injection. Right. So we are going to take the same example restaurant class. So in this application we are going to see the three beans: restaurant bean, grocery shop bean, and vegetable shop bean. So restaurant is a dependent of grocery shop and vegetable shop. So the vegetable shop and grocery shops are dependencies of restaurant. So last time we have injected these dependencies through constructor based injection. This time we are going to inject these dependencies through setter based injection. So now we see this class restaurant class. So my restaurant class is here. I will show you the restaurant class. Before that I will open the XML file also, so that it will be useful for us to go through this XML file as well. So now see the restaurant class. So it is a bean, right? In Java bean we have properties. So instance variables are called as properties. So in restaurant class we have two properties. One is Gopal provision store and another is Murugan provision store. So Gopal provision store property is of type grocery shop and Murugan vegetable mart is of type vegetable shop, and we have a restaurant constructor, that is a default constructor. Then we have prepare meal method. Inside this method we call the supply groceries method of provision store, and we call supply vegetables method of vegetable Murugan vegetable mart, that is vegetable shop. Then we print the text meal is prepared. Then inside the serve meal method we are calling prepare meal method and we print the meal is served text. See, we have the setter and getter methods for the properties. So inside the setter method of the setter method set Gopal provision store method, we print the text inside set Gopal provision store method. Same way inside the set Murugan vegetable mart method we print the text inside set Murugan vegetable mart method. Now we are going to see how these beans are defined in the XML file. So in XML file we have defined the grocery shop bean as this way. So we have given the ID to this bean as provision store. Same way we define the vegetable shop bean inside this XML file and we have given the ID vegetable shop. Then we have defined the restaurant class as a bean in this XML file and we have given the ID Bhavan. And if you notice we have the tag property. For the property tag we have the attribute name, and for name we have given a value Gopal provision store. This value should be same as that of the property name of the restaurant class. So inside the restaurant class we have the property Gopal provision store. The same name should be given here. So we have given Gopal provision store, and in reference we provide the value the ID of the grocery shop bean we have defined. So we have given this one. So by saying this Spring container, what it does, it calls the setter method of the Gopal provision store setter method and pass the provision store, this grocery shop object, as an argument, right? So now when the XML file is loaded and when the Spring container reads this bean definition, it creates the grocery shop bean object first, then it creates vegetable shop bean object. When it creates the grocery shop object, it gives the object reference name as provision store. Same way when it creates the vegetable shop object, it gives the object reference as vegetable shop. Then when it creates the restaurant bean, it calls the restaurant's default constructor and it creates the restaurant object. Then it calls the set Gopal provision store method and pass the provision store object, that is the grocery shop object, as the argument to the setter method. Then it calls the setter method of the Murugan vegetable mart setter method, that is set Murugan vegetable mart method, and pass the vegetable shop object as argument. So this is how it does the setter based injection. So by calling the setter method of the property and passing the object reference to the setter method is called setter based injection. So now we have seen the setter based injection, how it works. Now we run this code and see. Before running this code, we will see the main method also. Inside the main method, as usual, we have created the class path XML application context object. It is the Spring container. So we have created the class path XML application context object by calling the constructor of class path XML application context and pass the string application context.xml. Then we call context.getBean method. So for the getBean method, we pass the ID, the bean ID of restaurant, which we have given as Bhavan. See, if you notice that the bean ID of the restaurant is Bhavan. So we have given this bean ID as a argument to this getBean method, and we are also giving restaurant.class as the argument. This method getBean will return you the restaurant object. Then we call the serveMeal method. So now we run this code and see how the output is generated. Now I right click this main. Then what I do is I run as Java application. So now I got the output. If you notice the output, I got it as loading XML bean definitions from class path resources. So now the application context.xml file is loaded. Then the grocery shop object is created. So inside the grocery shop constructor, I have sysout, and that sysout prints the text inside default constructor of grocery shop. So that is why it is printed. Same way, the vegetable shop object is created by calling the vegetable shop default constructor. Then the Spring container calls the default constructor of restaurant, and inside that default constructor we have printed the text inside default constructor of restaurant. Next, the setter method is called. The Spring container calls the set Gopal provision store method. Since we have print the text inside set Gopal provision store method inside the setter method of inside the set Gopal provision store method, so this text is printed. So if you notice this, you can see this code, the set Gopal provision store code contains the text, contains the sysout system.out.println inside Gopal provision store. Same way, inside set Murugan vegetable mart method is printed. Then grocery supplied is printed, vegetable supplied is printed, then meal is printed, finally meal is served is printed. So in this code we have seen how the setter based injection is used by the Spring framework. So in our next session we are going to see about inner bean. Until then, bye from Java Anatha.